Japanese mythology in a nutshell, the wild origin of Japan's gods and emperors. All right, adventurers and myth explorers, we've journeyed through the cosmic slime of Egypt and the cornfields of the Maya, and today we're setting sail for the mystical, island-dotted lands of ancient Japan. Get ready for a world born from chaos, a divine couple with a very dramatic love story, and some truly unique sibling dynamics that make your own family gatherings look perfectly normal. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Dynamic Interactions. If you're looking for answers to the universe's biggest questions, like where did we come from? Or why does my cat suddenly get the zoomies at 3 a.m.? Well, you've absolutely come to the right place. Well, at least for the first question. The second one, my friend, is a mystery for the ages, probably involving tiny invisible ninjas. Now, before we embark on today's absolutely mind-bending, island-shaping adventure, and trust me, this one's a true romance with a side of cosmic drama, I've got a little challenge for you. If, by the end of this journey, your brain has expanded, your mind has been blown, and you've genuinely learned something new, something that makes you go, "Whoa, that's wild! My entire understanding of divine spears has shifted, and now I see rainbows differently," then and only then, do me a solid. Hit that like button and subscribe. No pressure if you don't, but if your brain gets a little bigger today and you feel that satisfying thump of new knowledge settling in, well, you know what to do. Let's build this community of curious minds together, one cosmic origin story at a time. So, without further ado, let's step onto the floating bridge of heaven and see how the land of the rising sun began. Part 1. The Cosmic Broth and the First Gods. So, you want to know how the universe began? Forget the Big Bang, forget cosmic sneezes, forget talking books. For the ancient Japanese, before anything, before time, before even the concept of before really made sense, there was chaos. Not a wet chaos like Egypt's Nun, but a primordial, swirling, indistinguishable mass. Imagine a cosmic soup, thick and murky, but also kind of beautiful in its utter formlessness. It was like the universe's first perpetually cloudy, slightly bubbly cauldron, brimming with unorganized potential. From this great, murky chaos, three divine beings spontaneously generated themselves, completely alone, and then promptly vanished. Think of them as the universe's first, very shy, self-made deities. Then, two more appeared and vanished, then another two. These were the Koto Amatsukami and the Kamiyo Nanayo, the heavenly separated deities and the 7 generations of the Age of the Gods. Most of them were solitary, genderless, and didn't really do much beyond existing and setting the stage. They were like the universe's early beta testers, essential but not quite ready for prime time. They solidified the heavenly realm, the Takamagahara, the high plane of heaven, the divine abode where the cool gods hang out. But then, from this long, silent parade of solo acts, came the final pair, the ones we really care about, the ones who actually got their hands dirty, literally, with creation. The last to emerge from the swirling primordial soup were Izanagi and Izanami. Think of them as the ultimate power couple, the divine Adam and Eve of Japanese mythology, but with way more responsibility and a significantly sharper accessory. They weren't just born, they were commissioned. The previous, more aloof deities, watching from the high plane of heaven, summoned Izanagi and Izanami and gave them a very important task: coagulate, consolidate, and give birth to this drifting land. Basically, go make an island, you two. The universe is looking a bit sparse. So, there they were standing on the floating bridge of heaven, gazing down at the chaotic, watery abyss. and they had a tool for the job. Not a magic wand, not a cosmic blueprint, but a very specific, jewel-encrusted spear, the Ame no Nubuko, the heavenly jeweled spear. This was their divine stirring spoon, their cosmic paddle, their ultimate land-forming implement. Part 2. The Cosmic Churn and the First Island. Now, imagine you're given the job of creating an entire landmass. What do? Do you consult blueprints? Do you push buttons? No! If you're Izanagi and Izanami, you do what any sensible divine being would do. You stir the cosmic waters. So, from the floating bridge of heaven, Izanagi plunged the magnificent Ame no Nubuko into the primordial, formless ocean below. He swirled it around, stirring the murky depths, churning the cosmic broth. As he lifted the spear out of the water, droplets of thick, salty brine dripped from its tip, and as these magical primordial droplets fell back into the abyss, they coalesced, hardened, and formed the very first island, Onogoro Shima, the self-formed island. Think of it, the entire land of Japan, at least its very first piece, formed from divine drips off a celestial spear. It's like the universe's most impressive drip castle. This island wasn't just a patch of dirt, it was the foundation, the anchor for everything that would follow. Izanagi and Izanami descended on this island, and it was here that they would begin the true work of creation. It was their sacred home, their first piece of divine real estate. They even built a majestic pillar, the Ama no Mihashira, the pillar of heaven, and a vast palace, the Yahiro Dono. Talk about setting up house quickly. Now, they had an island, they had a palace, but they still needed to populate the world. And this is where things get a little awkward, and a lot about the importance of getting your greetings right. Part 3. The First Dance and a Tragic Birth. To procreate and create more lands and deities, Izanagi and Izanami performed a sacred ritual. They circled the pillar of heaven, Izanami going one way, Izanagi the other, meeting in the middle. The plan was for Izanagi, the male, to speak first as was considered proper, but Izanami, in her excitement, blurted out, "Oh, what a handsome male!" Izanagi, being the stickler for divine etiquette, immediately knew they'd messed up. "Ah," he sighed, "it is not proper for the female to speak first." And he was right. Their first 2 children born from this improper union were misfortunes. The Hiruko, leech child, who was boneless and couldn't stand, and the Awashima, pale island, which was indistinct and unformed. They were like the universe's first truly awkward first attempts at parenting. They put the leech child in a boat of reeds and set him adrift, a sad little cosmic floating away. Poor guy, imagine being born a boneless leech and then immediately set adrift. So they went back to the pillar, circled again, and this time Izanagi correctly took the lead, exclaiming, "Oh, what a lovely female!" And from this proper union, the true creation of the Japanese archipelago began. Island after beautiful island emerged from their divine coupling. Honshu, Shikoku, Kyushu, Hokkaido, and many more. They gave birth to the mountains, the rivers, the trees, and countless nature deities, the kami, each embodying an aspect of the natural world. The world was truly taking shape, filled with lush landscapes and vibrant life. But then tragedy struck. In the act of giving birth to the fire god Kagutsuchi, Izanami was terribly burned. The divine flames scorched her, and despite Izanagi's desperate efforts, she succumbed to her injuries. Her death wasn't just a personal loss, it was the first death, introducing the concept of mortality and the cycle of life and decay into the world. It's a truly heartbreaking moment, a divine love story ending in the profound pain of loss. Part 4. The Descent to Yomi and the Bitter Pursuit. Izanagi was utterly devastated by the loss of his beloved Izanami. He wept bitter tears, and from those tears new kami were born. But his grief was so profound, his love so strong, that he decided to do something incredibly dangerous, something no living being was meant to do. He decided to descend to Yomi, the land of the dead, to bring her back. Imagine the darkest, most desolate underworld you can conceive. Yomi was a realm of perpetual gloom, filled with the decaying spirits of the dead and overseen by terrifying beings. Izanagi bravely, or perhaps foolishly blinded by grief, ventured into its depths, calling out for his wife. He eventually found her, shrouded in darkness. She told him it was too late, that she had already eaten the food of Yomi and could not return. But seeing his desperation, she told him to wait, promising to try to negotiate with the deities of the underworld, but with one strict condition: he must not look at her. Of course, this being mythology, Izanagi couldn't resist. Impatient and longing to see her face, he lit a tooth of his comb like a torch and snuck a peek. And what he saw horrified him beyond measure. His once beautiful Izanami was no longer the radiant goddess he knew. Her body was decaying, covered in maggots, and surrounded by hideous thunder deities. She was a horrifying sight, a grotesque shadow of her former self. In absolute terror, Izanagi shrieked and fled. Enraged by his betrayal and humiliation, Izanami unleashed the Yomimutsu Shikome, ugly females of Yomi, and later the 8 thunder deities, to chase him out. It was a frantic, desperate escape. Izanagi threw various magical items behind him, a vine he turned into grapes to distract his pursuers, then a comb that turned into bamboo shoots, and finally 3 peaches, which held off the pursuing demons. He narrowly made it to the entrance of Yomi, a massive boulder blocking the way. With a final desperate act, Izanagi rolled the boulder in front of the entrance, sealing off Yomi from the land of the living. And there, on opposite sides of that boulder, Izanami, furious and heartbroken, cursed him, vowing to kill 1,000 of his people every day. Izanagi, equally heartbroken, responded that he would ensure 1,500 people were born each day. This was the origin of life and death, the ultimate tragic divorce of the divine parents, setting the fundamental cycle of mortality for humanity. Talk about a messy breakup. Part 5. The Purification and the Birth of the Sun, Moon, and Storm. Having escaped the horrors of Yomi, Izanagi was utterly defiled by the impurity of the underworld. He knew he needed to cleanse himself, so he found a clear, pure river and began a purification ritual. And as he washed, an astonishing thing happened. From his cleansing, more powerful deities were born. As he washed his left eye, the magnificent goddess of the sun, Amaterasu Omikami, burst forth, radiating warmth and light. She was instantly recognized as the supreme deity, bright and glorious, destined to rule the high plane of heaven. Think of her as the ultimate divine beacon, the one who brings light and life to everything. As he washed his right eye, the god of the moon, Tsukuyomi no Mikoto, emerged, embodying the serene beauty of the night sky. He was calm, mysterious, and destined to rule the night sky, a cool counterpoint to his brilliant sister. And finally, as he washed his nose, the wild, tempestuous god of storms and the sea, Susanoo no Mikoto, appeared. Susanoo was powerful, unpredictable, and immediately prone to tantrums and mischief. He was, let's just say, the rebellious younger brother, the one who would cause all sorts of divine drama later on. These three, the three noble children, or Mihashira no Uzu no Miko, became the most important deities in the Shinto pantheon, directly descended from the primal act of purification. Izanagi, having completed his task of creation and now seeing his world filled with light and potential, retired from the active role of ruling, content that his work was done. Part 6. The Divine Squabbles and the Hidden Sun. With Amaterasu ruling the heavens, Tsukuyomi the night, and Susanoo, Susanoo was being Susanoo. He was supposed to rule the seas, but he was perpetually restless, loud, and constantly causing trouble. His behavior often infuriated his celestial siblings, particularly Amaterasu. One day, after a particularly destructive rampage where he trampled Amaterasu's sacred rice fields, defiled her palace, and even threw a flayed horse into her weaving hall, I told you he was a handful, Amaterasu was beyond furious. She was so disgusted and heartbroken by her brother's chaos that she did something truly drastic. She retreated into the Ama no Iwato, the heavenly rock cave, and sealed the entrance. And when the sun goddess, the source of all light, hid herself away, the world plunged into darkness. Crops failed, evil spirits roamed, and chaos reigned. It was the ultimate divine tantrum with cosmic consequences. The other kami, desperate to bring back the light, gathered at the cave entrance. They tried everything, praying, offering jewels, setting up sacred trees. Nothing worked. Amaterasu wouldn't budge. Finally, the clever goddess Ame no Uzume, the kami of dawn and revelry, came up with a plan. She overturned a tub near the cave, began to dance wildly and provocatively on it, stripped off her clothes, and made such a comical, uproarious spectacle that all the other gods burst into laughter. Amaterasu, inside the cave, grew curious. What could possibly be so funny in a world of darkness, she wondered. She cautiously opened the cave door just a crack to peek out, and as she did, the gods quickly presented her with a beautiful mirror, the Yata no Kagami, reflecting her own brilliant light. Amazed by her own radiance, she emerged further, and immediately the god Ame no Tajika Rao, the deity of strength, quickly pulled her out and sealed the cave with a sacred rope, ensuring she couldn't hide again. And thus light returned to the world, all thanks to a daring dance party and a very shiny mirror. This event established the importance of purity, harmony, and the resilience of the divine order. Susanoo was banished from the high plane of heaven for his misdeeds. Temporarily, he eventually redeems himself in other myths, and the world learned a valuable lesson about the importance of the sun and not throwing flayed horses indoors. Wrapping up, islands, immortality, and incredible kami. So, there you have it, the very beginnings of Japanese mythology. From the primordial chaotic soup to the emergence of solitary deities, the daring creation of islands by Izanagi and Izanami, their tragic separation through death, and finally, the birth of the magnificent sun, moon, and storm gods from a ritual of purification. It's a story filled with creation, love, loss, purification, and sibling rivalries that truly shaped a nation's understanding of itself and the world around it. These myths weren't just simple stories for the ancient Japanese. They were their profound understanding of the universe, the powerful forces that govern their daily lives, the sacred cycle of life and death, and the divine drama playing out around them every single moment. They shaped their religion, Shinto, their art, their literature, their societal values, and their entire way of seeing the cosmos, leading eventually to the lineage of the emperors, who are believed to be direct descendants of Amaterasu herself. I truly hope you found this deep dive into Japanese origins as fascinating and perhaps even as amusing as I did while researching it for you. If your mind is buzzing with new knowledge, if you feel like you've genuinely learned something profound and surprising about how this incredible civilization saw the beginning of everything, then please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel for more journeys into the weird, wonderful, and utterly captivating world of ancient myths, legends, and history. Your support helps me keep exploring these awesome topics and bringing them to you. Thanks so much for watching, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video where we might just explore Susanna-O's epic battle with an 8-headed serpent, or the tales of the other amazing kami. You won't want to miss that one. Bye for now!